are Pertemps. Now, I would imagine we've all heard of Pertemps, but probably didn't realise that they did driver training to such.
Absolutely. So I would say that most people will know Pertemps as a recruitment company. We've got a branch of 150 networks. We're multi-divisional. We started in 1961, and the driver training side of the business, which I'm here to speak more about today, was started in 2012 as part of a moving forward strategy for the business for our driver division.
A lot of people probably wouldn't realise, but we were having a chat before we came on air today, and you were saying that there is actually, there was a critical shortage of drivers a few years back. It's not quite as bad as it was then, but this seems to be the ebb and flow of having the resource there at the moment. Are we short of drivers currently at the moment? And when we say drivers, are we talking about car drivers, van drivers, or are we just talking about HGV licensed drivers?
The driver crisis hit its peak in 2014, and we, as the UK, were short of nearly 50,000 drivers for what we needed for our supply and demand needs. That has got better, and we're now down to, the last stats show us about 36,000, but we still need to keep going and keep investing in the industry to ensure that we're fit for purpose for the future.
So when somebody is setting up a fleet and they're putting their fleet together, they're going out there going, all right, I need X number of drivers to drive X number of vehicles. What should be the primary consideration that they should be thinking about? It isn't just about finding the money, I would imagine, to get the trucks. It is about the recruitment of the drivers. What should a company be looking for in a driver these days?
Okay, well, there needs to be a robust recruitment strategy when looking for a driver, or indeed someone to invest in. So you'll need to be looking at their licence. There needs to be a full interview process. You need to reference their background. If they've driven before, have they had any accidents? And then ensure they're the right type of person to go and deliver for the role that you're recruiting them for. So if it's a delivery driver, delivering to customers, they need customer service skills. If it's a driver you're looking to night out, are they prepared to be able to take that time away from family to do those roles? So it's about finding the right person for the right job.
When you reflect on the drivers that you see that come through Pertemps, what do you think the biggest issue that they have? Is it a lack of understanding of what the job actually involves?
Yes, in some cases we take on experienced drivers, but through our academy that we started back in 2014, we are looking for the right type of person that will be able to understand the academic side to becoming a driver, or indeed being a driver, which is the driver's hours, the legislation that they'll have to work through during their career and understand.
So the legislation, you touched on it there. Just how big, how onerous can legislation? Because I think as a car driver, you get in the car, you often hear stories about people jumping in their car and driving from London down to the south of France, and we did it in one hit. Of course, that just couldn't be done, could it, by a HGV?
No,
the regulations would really stop you from doing that, wouldn't they?
So they work under the EU driving hours and working time directive. So, they are limited in the amount of hours they are allowed to drive, and that, of course, is because of road safety. The loads they're carrying, 40-foot trailers, and they need to be very careful in terms of how they drive, and also the operators in terms of what runs that they're put on and pressure they put the drivers under.
Pertemps, because it's in the name, permanent, temporary.
Yeah.
So a lot of your drivers are going to be under contract, I would imagine, or they are going to be temporary drivers for a particular contract. Is that a different animal as well? Because you're not actually working for the organisation itself. So do you see sort of some drivers that fit very well into this kind of dynamic process? They can work for anybody because they've got the appropriate skills and they're detached enough not to really worry about the personalities. And then other drivers who are dedicated to a particular employer and quite like working for somebody, that one person in particular. Do you see a difference?
Yeah, I think there is. I think you're right, but it's how you manage your drivers, especially from an agency perspective. So we train all of our transport consultants because they're not salespeople; they're managing their drivers. The amount of legislation that our transport consultants need to know is far greater than it used to be when you get your average recruitment consultant in the driving industry. So we train and hold their hand to help them to effectively manage their drivers. You do need to be in contact with your driver. My director would say every day, twice a day, because he believes that if you look after your drivers, they'll stay driving for you, and then obviously doing a good job for your clients. If they get taken on, then great, you've helped that transition.
When you look at the drivers that are coming through the doors, there was somebody thinking today that they would actually like a career. I take it you can't just have people rocking in off the street and going, fancy being a professional driver, I'll go on one of your courses, please. Is there a process prior to the psychometric tests and everything like that before you start investing into them? What's the criteria you're looking for there?
There's a rigorous recruitment process with a large...
Beat them with a stick, are they?
No. Cuddled. We're the largest independent-owned recruitment company. We've been around for a long time. Our process is rigorous. They are sat in having their interview. They are checked. The license are checked, they are then referenced, and then even if they get to a point where, say, the consultant might still think, I don't know, I'm not sure, we might put them into the academy so that they have the practical training on top. And we really are leader in our field in the way that we recruit and retain our drivers in terms of Pertemps.